August 17th, 2015, which is a regularly scheduled meeting. The first item that we have is the signing of the warrant.
Motion, Mr. Chairman?
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Second item that we have is the approval of August 3rd, 2015 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That too is unanimous. Invitation to speak. Is there anyone in this vast crowd that would like to address the board on any item not listed on the agenda? Hearing nothing, we will move on. Our first public hearing is with the Quality Inn regarding a common victular license. I don't see anyone in the audience to address this, so why don't we hold this for now? And if the applicant comes forward, we can look at it at a later time. The next item that we have is Finelli Amusement Company for a carnival permit. And have a seat, come sit down, please. This is for a carnival/circus at 154 East Main Street in Milford. The business name is Finelli Amusement Company from Greenville, New Hampshire. The applicant is Milford Catholic Elementary School, the Parents Guild, and it is looking for arrival of equipment and rides Sunday, September 20th, 2015, and the dismantling of equipment Sunday, October 4th. We have the license to operate amusement devices approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, good to 3/2/2016. We have a sketch plan, presumably to show the layout of the equipment, rides, so forth. We have correspondence dated July 10th, 2015 from Patricia M. Meehan, manager of Milford East Main Street LLC, granting permission to use property located at 154 East Main Street for carnival purposes. We have a workers' comp deck sheet, looks like $1 million coverage. We have an Accord, Allied Specialty Insurance, Inc., certificate holders, Milford Catholic Elementary School Parents Guild. Expiration date 3/2/16. We have correspondence from Mr. Finelli, June 17th, 2015, looking to introduce the proposed carnival on the lot location. And with that, there is copy of our carnival permit policy, along with a report from the Chief of Police dated August 4th, 2015, an email from Paul Mazzucchelli, our health agent, dated August 4th, 2015, email from the fire chief, also of August 4th, 2015, and an email from our building commissioner, again dated August 4th, 2015. So with that, I will turn it over, presumably, Mr. Finelli.
Yeah, we'd like to do the carnival there, and I was told to come to the meeting. And Russ was supposed to be here to help me out because they're the sponsoring organization.
Okay.
at School. So we have a nice, clean operation. We've been to Milford in the past at Pheno Field for years with the fire department. We've always done a good job, complied with everything, nice and clean. I'm the owner of the company, and I'm there the whole time, instead of being like an absentee owner with management. I'm right there to keep my thumb on everything. It's family operation. We do the Holliston Lions Club, which we've been doing at the school there since the early 60s, so that's over 50 years. We got a good reputation in the amusement industry. And we'd love to come back to Milford.
Great. With that, let me turn it over to the board. Bill?
So, prior to this permit, we put in a policy that reviewed all carnival activity, simply because we had some difficulty with one carnival that crammed a lot of equipment into one very limited space overhanging the sidewalk. And so we put together a policy. In your discussions with the police chief, the police chief has made some notations to us, And I want to make sure I read those because the police chief is respectfully requesting the Board of Selectmen require the following police details. And so he's talked about police officer Monday through Friday, from 6 PM to 10 PM. And then 2 police officers from 6 PM to 10 PM for site security. Then Saturday, police officer, 12 PM to 10 PM, and then 2 police officers, 12 PM to 10 PM. And then again, Sunday. Then lastly, the police chief asked that I would appreciate the Board of Selectmen could put Finelli Amusement Company and Milford Catholic School on notice that they are jointly responsible for payment of police details. I just want to make sure you have the same understanding of.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then the other stipulation that I see is from the Board of Health. Have you had an opportunity to go see the Board of Health and complete the necessary applications and temporary food permits?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
We comply with all that and have the serve safe, and once we get approval from you guys, hopefully that happens tonight, we can start right on that tomorrow and on the Board of Health.
Okay. And that being the full set of requirements, and of course, the fire chief reserves right to require inspections during the setup to
Right.
ensure, fire apparatus and at least public safety access for first responders. And John Erickson indicated he didn't have any concerns from the building department. So beyond what's already been asked and beyond a very comprehensive policy where police, fire, building, and health have already looked into this, I don't have any additional questions. The only thing I can say is that, any motions, my suggestion is any motions stipulate these recommendations and be subject to those additional permits required for food permits. That's the only comment I have.
Okay. Will?
Yeah, that covered it for me. I'm all set. I don't have any additional questions.
Okay. Couple of things, Mr. Finelli. As I looked through the package and I looked through the carnival policy, the accord you provided doesn't name the town of Milford on that. Do you have an
We can-
insurance coming with the town of Milford
We
as
can
a
have
holder?
that for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have that for you this week.
Okay, because you have the certificate holder of Milford Catholic Elementary.
Right, it should
But,
say the town of Milford, Mass.
We need the town of Milford on it as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, the last time there was a carnival at that location was 2011, and it did not go well. It was not your company that did it, but it did not go well. We received a lot of complaints from neighbors, and, as you look through this policy, it looks as though the proposed plan is to not only address where the rides are gonna be and the equipment, but also parking. And that's supposed to be one of the things that the applicant is putting forward as to how the parking is gonna be handled. I didn't see anything in this paperwork that's gonna tell me how parking is gonna be handled. Where are people gonna park?
I'd like to take a look at the whole plot plan. Do you have an extra one of those?
Well, you can look at mine, sure.
Okay. Now, my manager wrote this out, and I looked at the lot over there. This isn't the whole plan, is it? There's parking on the side there, and that's where we would park them.
I don't know, that's all I have. Is there a different plan? Do we
I
have a
don't know
different
why,
That's all we were provided.
That's all in front of me.
was there like a plan of the property plan?
This is all I got. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did we get anything else, Rick?
No, this is.
We want to park right on the premises, right on that lot. There's plenty of room there to park and to put the amusement rides.
Okay.
So it would be over on the side of the property and towards the back of the property.
Okay.
I might have to
Do you have-
draw something up to,
Well, I don't want anything drawn up. I mean, do you have,
don't-
do you have the plan that you're talking about, the full plan to show where parking's gonna be?
I I could get a hold of that, yeah.
Okay, all right, so if you could submit that so we can take a look and make a
Right.
judgment as to where the parking's gonna
Right,
be.
over the whole property, instead of
Yeah.
just this plot plan of the ride layout.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Now, in that plan you have
Doesn't show
before, the plan you have before you, you know, I could decipher most of it in terms of the rides, dumpsters, that sort of thing. Where is the area that the generators are gonna be?
Let's see here. Well, those would probably be centrally located in between one of the rides, you know, right in the middle, like in between the ride here to
Is
run the
it
wiring.
shown
out.
on there?
I don't think it is,
Okay, all right, I didn't think so either. All right, can I have that back, please?
sure.
Yeah. Let me just tell you my concern, okay? And this is no indictment of your business, because like I said, the last carnival that was there was not you.
Right.
But it's the location. So after the last carnival, back in June of 2011, we received a complaint such as this. I wish the town officials who approved this carnival would spend 1 hour in my yard where the generator noise, now topped by the carnival noise, is deafening. Can't wait to see how this impacts traffic flow. We have traffic problems already, and the selectmen approve a carnival in a congested, mixed community area. What were you thinking? My constituents and I are not happy with this poor decision. It is our hope that the police department will keep this event under control and that an event like this will not take place on that property again. Thank you. So that's what we were confronted with, and in fact, the board at that time indicated to the police and the fire that we hesitantly approved the permit at that time to support the charity My One Wish. However, any future events at the site are unlikely. So, you know, I understand, and you know, you've been very credible in terms of the business plan that you're presenting, but, you know, I just don't know that this location is such a good idea to have a carnival. There's a lot of people that live around there, and I
Right.
think it could be very disturbing to them.
Well, how all this started was I got a phone call from Russ to do a fundraiser. The committee's the one that finds the location and does that. They're the leader. I just work with them, provide the amusements and do my part. I didn't go put that together. I go in with sponsors. The sponsor should be here and should be talking for that. Maybe that was the only location he could get. So he came out, I think he tried to get, the old Kmart. I think he couldn't get it, or.
They
never
stopped
got-
carnivals
they never got back to him.
10-plus years ago.
Yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
similar reasons why with companies, the wrong company, it's like anything else, you know?
Yeah, there's some fly-by-night out there. for
Yeah,
sure.
and which ruins it for another company. So, but as far as that, yes, I'd like to go there. I want to do this with the organization, and that's why I'm here. I mean,
Okay, you know, I
so
appreciate
it's like,
that.
it's almost like I'm not really putting it on myself. I'm the second guy I'm putting it together with Russ for them to raise money.
Sure.
Sure. What's the pleasure of the board?
So, I could do a good job for you. I think you should try it. It's not gonna be like before. We could work with the generator. I'm easy to work with, and I'm there. I live in Fitchburg, so I don't have far to travel. I'm there every day. And we could do a good job, and then keep Milford going with some entertainment and a little fundraiser, and maybe down the road, if that location's not gonna be there, they're probably gonna, put a car lot or build something, or who knows how much longer, so we'd like to come back to Milford. Who knows, maybe Pheno or Kmart or somewhere else, so the nonprofit group could benefit from that with the school.
Sure, yeah, no.
So I can assure you that it's not gonna be like the other company that was here and the complaints like that. As far as traffic or, you know, anything that's out of my control, a complaint, you know, some people complain about anything. You know, you always get a neighbor like that. But as far as doing a good job and a better job and making it safe, secure, the generator sound, all that, I'm right there.
We had several complaints like that, and it was, you know, a very unpleasant event for the people that live down there. Pleasure of the board?
Yeah, my sense is we ought to follow our policy, go ahead and get the updated drawing, proposed parking and including, and I'm guessing that Russ or the police chief or anybody else, fire department has looked at the location of generators. The problem is, we don't have that drawing in front of us.
Right.
And so the chairman's raised concerns You know, I went off the assumption that police and fire had already looked at those, but in the absence of that in front of them, I'm a little reluctant to go forward. So that would be my comment, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
What we could do is,
oh, wait a minute, let's just hear from Will.
Oh, that's fine. I
Okay.
think those are all valid concerns. Not knowing the history of the last time a carnival was there, I think having all the right stuff in front of us, I would like this organization that's sponsoring it, the Milford Catholic School, to be able to have a
Sure.
successful event. Knowing a lot of the parents on there, and obviously all of us knowing Russell, I wish he was here. I would like to see this go forward, but I also think that my colleagues are making, having valid concerns and making valid comments on, you know, what could have been in front of us and wasn't. So I think if we can communicate back to the sponsor and get the information required, and maybe they will have somebody come here as well, sponsor, representing the Milford Catholic Elementary School Parents Guild, then we can hopefully get all the information we need to move forward.
All right, so why don't we do this? When's the next scheduled meeting, Mr.
I was
Administrator?
going to
August-
have a meeting on August 31st.
Okay, so our next meeting is August 31st, so what I would suggest is we're not gonna take any action on the application tonight, not gonna be any motion to approve it or any motion to deny it. So, that'll give you a couple of weeks or so to, number one, come up with the proper insurance accord. Number two, I would suggest that you revisit the policy, particularly section 2.4, and come forward with a site plan that complies with all of those requirements.
right, the parking and the generator, that's what was missing from that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's other items on there that I didn't even get into in terms of where the flammables are located, you know, and that type of stuff, but it's all laid out right here. But to
Right.
me, you know, the one that jumped out was number one, generators, because that was a huge issue last time, and number two, parking. That
Right.
was a huge issue as well. So, you know, if you can come forward with a plan that, you know, satisfies at least those two areas as well as the other requirements, then, you know, I think, you know, personally myself, I'd look on it a little bit more favorably than I do right now.
Right, I understand.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd
that okay?
encourage the applicant to go forward with the Board of Health to get the necessary permits.
Let's see.
I don't know that it has to be done serially.
Well, they charge for that too, right? Or,
I would imagine.
Well, it says that the representative would have to come to the Board of Health office and complete the necessary applications for temporary food permits. I mean, that would be your choice, you know, I mean, you know, we've issued, you know, previous permits in the past for various things contingent upon Board of
Right,
Health
oh, okay.
approval, so, I mean, if you wanted to go forward, if there are fees that you might not want to incur reasonably so, you know, I think it's okay to wait till after the 31st. I think
Okay.
the big thing is we really got it, for me,
get that in right away.
well, for me, you know, I think we really have to have a level of comfort with the generators and the parking. Because, let me tell you, last time, the neighborhood went bananas.
All right, well, I don't know anything about that, I just heard a little bit, that's why you have the
Well, I
new
do.
rules, and I
That's why the
understand.
policies, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand,
You know, so the location
Absolutely.
is very problematic,
yeah.
you know, and again, it was not your
Do you
business,
have
I
any
don't
other
wanna.
suggestions for locations?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry.
But Russ is a good one to work with.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so is that okay?
That sounds
So why don't
fair.
we'll have it on the agenda for the 31st, and then allow you plenty of time to, you know, get some of these other items in.
All right, thank you kindly.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item that we have is the highway surveyor to give us an update. Mr. Christofouli is here. What would you like to say, Scott? I know, huh? Boy,
Beautiful.
that's why you're here, because it's nice and cool
You
and,
got it. No AC in the house, so
yeah,
sit here all night.
I know.
A few months ago, you remember back, we received $250,000 with the help of John Fernandez and Senator the Fat Man for our brook repairs. I just want to give you an update. We're obviously working on the first FEMA hazard mitigation grant, the culvert on Main Street and Congress Terrace. We've started that. Me and Bonnie have gotten together and trying to decide what we want to do with that. $250,000. Right now, we have 2 other FEMA grants we're working on. One for our hazard mitigation plan, which we have to have by the end of the year, and another one for the culvert on West Spruce Street. So we're gonna keep going forward with these grants as much as we can. So we're gonna use that money towards engineering to set up the next grant and to get our hazard mitigation plan in place, because we can't get the grants without the plan. So, just an update on that, and,
So, just run that by, so the $250,000 from the state, you're gonna use to put together the design work for future FEMA grants?
yes.
Okay,
But we're also gonna probably use some of it for our hazard mitigation plan, which every town has to have.
okay.
Ours expires by the end of the year, so that's our first grant that we went for, and that's gonna be,
So if I get, so it's not gonna go to the pending project per se, which the town already appropriated funds for?
right.
Okay,
I can't say it's not gonna, we'll see. If we go over, we may have to use it, yes. But we're immediately gonna put it back into another project if we don't use it.
Yeah, no, I think
Because we did
that's-
already appropriate the money, so.
yeah, no, that sounds like a very good decision.
But either way, it's going to the brook, one way or the other. So they've started that Main Street end of the project. We've done the sewer line at the other end on Congress Terrace and Westbrook Street. Main Street's going a little slow, but they're still insisting they will finish the whole project, both ends, November. So, be happy when that's over, because it's starting to really cause traffic issues. Like I said, we had the other grants that we've applied for through FEMA.
And do those grants target different locations on the brook?
Yes, one of them is Westbrook, not Westbrook, West Spruce Street,
West Spruce Street,
West Spruce Street culvert.
Oh, okay, West Spruce Street, okay, yeah,
Yes.
all right,
That's another culvert that's in
Yeah.
need of repair.
yeah.
Probably not a huge project, more like the Church Street project was, small and out of the way. Kinda didn't really bother anybody too much. Don't have a price on that, we have no idea, it's in the engineering stage right now. And like I said, the other one is for the hazard mitigation plan, which is not gonna be a lot of money, but we will have to spend something.
And timeframes, I imagine the money from the state has gotta be spent FY16, correct?
That I don't know, I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, Derek, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
I just assumed it was, but okay, that's fine. But your other FEMA grant applications, you're okay in terms of scheduling on those?
Yeah, I mean, those are being worked on right now, we're gonna be submitting pretty soon,
Okay.
so we'll have all our engineering costs on top of that, and I mean, worst comes to worst, we'll use the money for the other project if we have to,
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
I will find that out, though, because I don't know about that. All right, so, that's that with FEMA right now, and also, we have a reimbursement coming from FEMA for snow, $216,000.
Just in time for more snow, by the time you get it.
Yeah. It took a while, but, we finally finalized everything, and it's about $216,000. I also got a letter from the state, I guess the state's gonna reimburse money, or thinking about it at this point, another $120,000 towards snow. So we maybe get a lot of it back, that would be very nice.
And before you go on, Scott, I just want to commend your office and your staff for doing that, because, you say like, well, money's coming back, we're getting money from the state, 200,000. You make it sound like, well, you just show up and you get a check. It's not. It's a very involved process that overlaps, I think, with the police, the fire, and other branches of the town for you to submit this application to get that money. It just doesn't happen like
It
that.
actually was about a 2-month process.
Yeah.
More paperwork, they take all your paperwork, and then they call you, they need more paperwork, and then they need more paperwork, it just keeps building up.
I've seen these things go
It is.
through.
It
It's a
takes a
lot
while.
of work, and, it's kind of easy to say, well, a couple $100,000, I don't want to deal with it, but, you do, and,
It is.
certainly everybody appreciates it, and you do a great job for the town to bring that money
I
back.
appreciate the FEMA people that actually do this and have to go through the paperwork, because it's not a standard form. Every town has a different way of doing things, and they get the pile of papers, and then they have to sort through every penny and every single thing, and every time we do it, it gets more difficult, it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
It used to be a simple thing, now it's like I said, it took us 2 months to
sure.
finalize.
I don't doubt it. I don't
It's
doubt it.
huge, so, and we do get reimbursed for our time working on that also, so it all gets added in there. But, that's about it for FEMA. Road projects, got a bunch of them going on, typical stuff, we've already finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 roads since March.
Wow.
We still got, we're finishing up Lawrence, Lee, and Quinlan, which was a Sue Clark project originally, we could never raise the money for, so I've actually gone in there and done it. It was definitely due. We start in Rolling Green, Regal, and Salvia, that's our next set of roads, those will be full depth reclamation, completely rebuilt, top to bottom.
Which streets, I'm sorry, Scott?
Regal Road, Rolling Green Drive, and Salvia Road. Those that we had some serious drainage issues, so we figure we're in there, do the whole package, get everything done. We're gonna jump on to Cortland, Howard, Souza, Diana, Alfred, Central, Fountain, and Eastview Street. Now, those are gonna be a little different process than full depth reclamation, we're gonna just basically surface treat them. Get another 10 to 15 years out of them at a third of the price of reclamation. That'll get us ahead of the game a little bit. I know we had talked about in the past, I've talked with you, Bill, about Water Street. Water Street's a huge project. It's very expensive. It may not, you know, it doesn't look like the biggest road, but it is. It's about a $1.8 million project total.
I don't doubt it, sure.
We obviously don't have that much money to spend on the project at this time. So I have $250,000 put aside this year, which is enough to get my handicap ramps done, some drainage work, some sidewalk repair, and possibly finish the top right-hand side where there's no sidewalk. That was another plan at the Heights project. They wanted to put that sidewalk in and finish it to the top. They ran out of money. So I'd like to get that done before we actually pave the road. I think it should be there. Is, you know, is a dead-ending sidewalk that doesn't make sense, so. Between that, and then if we get all that wrapped up this year, beginning of next year, we should be ready to pave it, you know, and that project will be complete. It's just a big money project, and to spend all that at once is not easy.
Sure, sure.
Can't do it. I can't neglect everything else for one road, it's just not the right thing to do. So we'll do it bits and pieces, and we'll get there. I got other roads that we're looking at. Haven Street I've been trying to do for a couple of years. Water company backed me up last year when they had a big water main job there, so threw me off. It still might be done this year, but that's a simple fix with chip sealing it. You know, that's another surface treatment. Make it last another 10, 15 years. It's basically the kind of road where you have no base to work with. You have nothing to work with. It was a cart path. It was paved over. It was never prepped. It was never, you know, drainage was never done. All that stuff was just neglected, so it's.
Haven, you still?
Haven Street, yeah. So we don't have a lot to work with, and without actually going in there and spending millions rebuilding the road, we'll do the best we can to keep it as smooth as possible. And last on the list is two bridges, Fisk Mill Road Bridge and the Diller Street Bridge. Waiting for the report from the Fisk Mill Bridge, but I actually got a call from the state telling me that the rails in that bridge need to be replaced ASAP. I am gonna take that money out of my Chapter 90 funding to do that. It's about a $100,000 repair. But we have to do that. And then once we get into the Diller Street Bridge, I might be going to town meeting at some point. But I'm trying to get some engineering work to see where we're at with that. Not major repairs, more maintenance repairs, just to keep it in good shape. You know, it hasn't been touched in 30 years, so we've done the surface treatment to it. The surface is fine now. It's underneath the bridge we have to work on. So, this is just all the projects we are going, you know, lining them up.
Good. Bill, any questions, comments?
Scott, I'd like to, you know, once again commend you for the work your guys did last year in the snow, and it's not a surprise that the result that we get throughout the spring, summer, and fall, and the following year is all the broken up road that happens as a result of all that snow melting and then refreezing and continuous cycle of that. So, want to make sure you know you have the board's
Yeah,
support,
while we're
my
talking
support.
up to broken and down roads, you also have Main Street.
Well, I was gonna ask you about that, the
Yeah,
area in front of Frank's Appliance and,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not gonna say from Water Street to, the intersection at the hospital, but a good portion of that is almost like an SUV test track, so
Yeah,
I
it
wanted
is.
to see, you know.
That's that project we have on, we're trying to get on the tip, and it looks like we're on there 2018, 2019, which is a ways away. But that's just completely rebuilt, from sidewalks, road, drainage, lights, the whole package.
And it's gonna
the lights.
rework the hospital intersection
Yeah.
too, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything, yeah, widen that
I mean,
intersection,
that's the way to go with that project.
of course, but I think in the meanwhile, we'll spend a little money on it this year. We'll fix that trench in front of Frank's, and there's a whole trench that goes down the right side towards town. We'll fix that stuff up. I gotta spend some money on it, because it's not gonna last that
yeah, we're
long.
not gonna make it.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm just waiting for that project to be finished, because I don't want more traffic in that area. It's bad enough with the culvert project.
Yeah,
Sure.
As soon as that's done, we'll go in there and start doing something.
So between the culvert project and all the trucks and all the construction from the hospital,
it's-
you're gonna wait a little bit
Yeah.
before you get back to it? Because I know people are gonna ask you, and
Yeah.
this is just another opportunity in front of the community.
Yeah.
It's a thing you're aware of.
Believe it or not, you'd think I'd get more complaints, but I do not get any complaints. I get complaints from people from Hopedale, believe it or not, but not from Milford. No one's ever called on that road. I don't know why, it's odd. You may get them, I don't know, but I really have never had a complaint there, very rare. But that road is, I don't think that's been touched since probably the sixties.
Yeah, and even without complaints, we know it's a mess, right?
Oh, absolutely, it's a mess, absolutely. I drive on it too every
Is
day.
that a concrete base under that?
It has a concrete base and 2 inches of asphalt on top of it.
Yeah, because I remember this, well, the whole Main Street is concrete when I was a
Yes.
kid.
Any project you do on that road is a nightmare because
Yeah.
of the concrete base.
Yeah.
And then there was some work done, 20, 30 years ago that they never put the concrete base back. And that's why you're having those trenches go down. They're just settling different, they go up, they go down, the road stays in one place. So it breaks everything up. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. So we're gonna do what we can for now, and, because my guys complain about it when they have to plow it, because it's rough. It's rough on the guy driving. You got a metal cutting
yeah.
edge on the ground, it's jumping all over the place, and it kills the trucks. And so as soon as that project wraps up, we'll be out there. Probably right before
That
winter.
was my only question.
Okay,
And thank you again, Scott.
well,
Thank you, Brian. Scott, great job as always. I know informally, I spoke to you about this 30 seconds quite a while ago, just to kind of get your feeling on it, or to see if it's even possible. But as projects that the town's paying for and things like that come off, we have Woodland, we have the Armory, we have a lot of things that we've been able to accomplish over the years. But has there ever been, and my colleagues certainly may know the history, I do not, where if Water Street, for example, was 1.8 million, if that section of Main Street wasn't getting on the tip, could we do something, like you said, talking about going to town meeting? How long, you're talking about surface coating roads and them lasting 10 or 15 years. When you completely redo a road, reclamation, or whatever you called it, how long do those roads technically last for?
You'd like to see them last 30 years, but you're talking 20 and you have to start thinking about it.
20 good years.
And then, obviously, if it's down on the bottom of the list, and it's not that bad, it goes and goes and goes to the point that it totally fails. You're talking 25 years, it's failed. And now you're just patching and patching until you can actually get there to fix it. So when you do a surface treatment, depending on what you do, they're all different. They're a third of the price.
No, and the way you explained it,
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
And a lot of times it may not take the bumps out of the road, but it takes the curse off the bumps, so it's a smoother ride.
Okay.
And the road holds together. You stop the potholing, so we're not out there patching, and, you can fix some of the puddle issues, but it's not the brand-new road. But it's definitely close. It's worth the money, and that's what fixing the roads is all about. You wanna be at a maintenance
Right.
position, not a totally rebuild position. And a surface treatment is a maintenance thing. If you keep doing your surface treatments, you never have to reclimate that road, and you never have to grind it down again. You just take care of the surface. The surface is what fails first.
Okay.
And if water never gets into the base will last forever. If you don't have frost issues and water under there, it lasts forever. So as long as you take care of the top, in the future, it's cheaper to maintain. That's the whole idea behind roads. It's not rebuild every road, rebuild. But when you have some of the roads we do, they're 2.5, 3 inches thick. They're not thick enough. to
Just
begin
because of the
with.
way it was handled X amount
Yeah,
of years
for
ago.
years and
with
years,
the-
when technology was different, and actually, the asphalt 40 years ago was 10 times better than it is today. We have roads that are 40 years old that are still decent, they're drivable.
Yep.
But, you'll never have the asphalt mix they have today the last 40 years, never happened. It turns white in a year.
Right.
It's already bleaching from the sun, because there's not real tar and liquid asphalt in there anymore. It's all man-made stuff, so.
Okay, no, the only reason I asked that, and you did a good job of explaining it, especially someone like me who certainly doesn't claim to know all the magic that you and your group work. But I guess what I'm getting to is, we borrow money to build a building and things like that. Have you ever thought of, or should it be something that we talk about in the future, and get, if there's 2 or 3 of these major roads that actually have to be fully reclamated, because it seems like the majority, unless I'm hearing you wrong, you can surface treat and maintain. But you're never gonna have $2 million for Water Street and do $2 million for this road. I mean, are there 3 or 4 roads that we're not getting to because they're so exorbitant? I mean, is that something that,
Water Street, that's number one, because of the money. But the other one coming up, is Route 109, Medway Road.
yeah,
That's a bigger road. We're already looking at it and trying to determine what we're gonna do, and we're gonna have to do it soon, because it's coming apart quickly. But that's a road that was built right years ago. It's 4 to 5 inches thick. We can plane the top off and put another top on it, and that'll be good for another 15, 20 years. You know, we don't have to do a full reclamation, so we can save a lot of money on that road, but it's still huge, it's still gonna cost
it's
a
a
lot.
huge road.
We may have to do that again, half and half 1 year, half the other. I mean, really, I could probably put it together as a project and maybe go to town meeting one year and just get it done, you know, and put the whole project out to bid separately from the
I just
town.
didn't know if you ever did that, or if highway surveyors in the past, or again, my colleagues probably know the history far better than I do. I just didn't know with this type of dollars, you know, having a good rating, once things come off and we have, you know, room in our debt schedule again in the future, is it something that you go and you get the money for these 3 roads, because they're gonna last for 20 years, you can pay for them for 20 years. So I just didn't know if that's something that you think
I
of,
mean,
you thought
we
of,
did
that's not
that.
allowed,
Did we do
or,
that three years ago?
I think you can bond asphalt, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a yes or no?
Yes, I'm pretty sure you can.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, because if you said, hey, I have to go look into that, then that's my answer as well. I just thinking about that over the last few months, that,
You know, with grant work and stuff like that, there's nothing out there for roads, as far as I know.
Mhm.
You know, that's what chapter 90 money's for, that's what they'll tell you, the state will tell you. I mean, we're lucky enough to get almost 900,000 from chapter 90, that's huge. You know, and that,
But it's not
oh,
enough.
unbelievable.
it's never enough. You know, maybe, I hate to say it, but some days I see the light, but then it goes out quickly when I drive down another street. You know, you think you're getting it, but
Another
you're not.
winter.
You're just not getting there. All of a sudden, you see like Cedar Street, we just did a ton of patchwork on, all the way from Main Street to Hoppington. You know, now it looks good, we were getting flat tires, certain sections were bad, but there's another one, that's gonna go soon. That's gonna go. But there's other things out there, recycling, hot top, we've been doing that, where they actually go on the street, they heat it up, they mix it up, they put rejuvenator in it, more emulsion, lay it back down.
It's amazing.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of new technology, so we can get things done cheaper, not necessarily last as long, but they definitely cost us, like I said, less than half. So if you can get almost a full life at half the price, it's worth it.
All right, well, maybe that's just something that even offline I can bother you about, and we can put our heads together, because
absolutely.
I just think that, you know, again, if something's gonna last 20 years, whether it's a building or roads, especially these huge ones, that if that's something worth looking at, or at least having a dialogue about.
Yeah, we should, definitely.
All right, great, thank you.
All right. We'll make it go
Scott, a
soon.
couple of little questions on maybe some lesser involved projects. Crosswalks on Main Street, where are we in terms of getting those repainted? They're really, you know, some of
Probably
them,
painted by the end of the week.
yeah,
The,
okay,
yeah, we do all our paint in August.
okay.
What we do is we get the painting company in to do all their stuff. My employees do the yellow in the centers. I think
Because it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think they're scheduled for
Really
Thursday
does.
night, actually. They're gonna come in
Okay,
Wednesday or Thursday night.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be done before school. We make sure we get it all done before school. That's
and
usually
then,
the
you know,
case.
the town / Sacred Heart parking lot, you know, it's kind of a, almost an entranceway to the town as you know, come from the east. You know, that whole bed really could use some mulch. Where is that on the cycle?
We had a landscape company come in, and I'm gonna actually do this every year now, because I know Sue used to do it.
Yeah,
Mike says he doesn't have the money in his budget to do it. I am gonna pay for it from now on, have downtown sprayed twice a year. I'll take care of that, I'll take that over, no problem. I mean, I can get it out of
don't
my
you even
budget.
have the mulch that you're creating?
Oh, in fact, we ran out last year, and we're gonna make more this year, but we
Okay.
won't have it in time to do that.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure who mulched that in the past.
Well, again, it
It
was,
was never us,
to
I
the
know
extent
that.
that it was done, it was handled through Sue
Yeah.
and the downtown, you know, partnership office, which really no longer
I
exists,
think
so.
we had,
Kind of slips through the cracks now, and it's too bad, because, you know, if you're coming into town, it's really the first thing you see. You've got, you know, the nice monument in Calzone Park,
and you've got the nice growth, and, you know, it just doesn't really look as sharp as it could for a gateway to the town.
Right, no, I agree. It's
But
overgrown right now. It's just
Yeah,
like,
so it's just kind of, you know, fallen, you know, so I don't know if you can try to coordinate maybe with the parks guys or something, and if you need some assistance, you know, we've dipped into, you know, some of that, money that was there, the biomeasure money.
Yeah.
You know, we've used that in the past, so if there's something that needs to be done, just let us know.
It should be done right at the beginning of summer also. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, we're not gonna do it
Right.
now, it's
Right.
over, but,
Right,
like I said, we had the weeds sprayed in there, so they should die off now.
Yeah.
It may look a little better. I don't know, we should do something. I've never done the bark mulch. Honestly, it's very difficult to send guys there to do that. Just, we're paving streets, it's hard.
I understand, I understand.
We have summer kids, we can get them to do that too.
And if we need to reach out to the sheriff's office, you know, on a regular
Yeah, we could
basis
do
to
that.
try to bring in some employees,
Yep.
you know. Not a big thing, but, you know, it's something that, you know, in terms of the aesthetics, I think goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a better design for these handicap ramps that go on the sidewalks? Because I know they go down and they look very nice when they're there and they work, you know, they've got the nubs or the raised things. But invariably, after one, maybe 2 winters, whatever plow goes over it, I mean, those things are gone. Is there a better, God bless you. Is there a better design out there? Is this something
There
else?
actually is. It's obviously more money, but what is cast iron? Now, everything has its, you know, pluses and negatives or whatever, but
Right.
the plastic ones look nice and they stay yellow when they're plastic. The
Yes.
cast iron ones, which we just started using, are gonna rust, and the rust is gonna run onto the asphalt. You're gonna see the rust, but they're invincible, basically. So, you know, we're gonna try the cast iron ones for the next couple of years. They're twice the price. One of those plates, believe it or not, is $300.
The cast iron?
No, the plastic
The
ones.
plastic one, yeah, no, I
Cast
don't
iron's
doubt
gonna be like a
that.
$600 plate. You can't believe when you look at it,
Yeah.
you say, this thing's, you know, that much money, but they're very expensive.
I know.
And then they break.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I didn't know, just, you know, I'm sure it's not, you know, the biggest issue that's out there. But again, for that kind of cost, you know, it does seem a shame that they're there and, you know, the utility is really only a year or two.
yeah, and the thing is, the damaged ones are on Main Street where they just put them in.
I know,
And I hate to dig that sidewalk up now.
I know, they're
We're
not
gonna
old.
have to. I mean, I
They're
don't know,
not
we're
old.
not gonna get it to this year, but we will get it done. And we're gonna put cast iron in. Like I said, we're using the cast iron now, so,
Scott, these are the ones the state put in? I'm sorry, Brian.
yeah.
So the ones the state put in are lasting a year or two.
They're the same as the ones we typically use, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta remember, especially this year, we were on those sidewalks 4 different occasions with machines cleaning
No,
the
I know,
sidewalks.
I know.
Yeah, at least,
You
yeah.
know, and they just can't take the abuse, you know. Some around town, it'll probably last forever, but just downtown's the toughest.
Yeah,
So, you know, maybe if we do the cast iron, it's just downtown,
yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Well, anything else you want to
That's it.
hit us with?
I'm gonna go out and hit the heat.
Go jump in the pool somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, and thanks for everything you do. And I did want to stress, you know, these reimbursements that you get, they don't happen automatically. They're a heck of a lot of work, and it's great that you know, take on the burden to do that. And it's a great benefit to the town, so, you know, thanks a lot.
Anything we can get, that's what we're gonna do. So.
Yeah,
All right,
good enough.
thank you.
All right, take care.
Good night.
That concludes the public hearings. Next item that we have is the town administrator's report. Rick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have been informed by the fire chief that the department took possession of their new brush truck on August 13th. They are in the process of loading the hose and equipment on the truck. Training for personnel began today and will continue throughout the week. Due to its pump size, it will qualify as an additional engine for the town. It will also serve as an extreme weather vehicle, as it will be able to handle deep water, snow, and the rough terrain. The senior center, I'm happy to report that the renovations for the exercise room at the senior center are pretty much complete, other than the installation of some mirrors. We know it'll be a great addition for our seniors and others at the center. As Scott alluded to regarding our hazard mitigation plan, Town Engineer Vonnie Reese has submitted, as Scott, a grant application to FEMA to upgrade our plan. The grant application, I am informed, is for 75% of the cost of the work. They estimate the town would need to contribute approximately $11,000 in matching funds and in-kind contributions should we receive the grant. We should know hopefully by November if we are chosen. Also, as Scott alluded to, the Godfrey Brook project is underway. As he mentioned, the replacement of the sewer line between West Brook Street and West Walnut Street is complete. They are working on the Main Street culvert now, but mainly on private property. The work on Main Street that will require closing one half of the street and setting up a detour is expected to begin the week of August 31st. Obviously, we'll keep the board and the public apprised of that. I would like the board to know that the finance director, treasurer, and benefits coordinator and I met with bond counsel to discuss bonding for the Woodland School. Zach will be recommending a bond anticipation note to be issued in the amount of $17 million. He will be bringing this forward to the board at a meeting in hopefully September. Milford Pond update. The dredging of Milford Pond, I'm informed, is approximately 40% complete. The contractor will be working diligently to complete the dredging before the winter as anticipated. And finally, regarding our town engineer, I'm pleased to report that Vonnie has been elected to the Board of Directors for the Massachusetts Coalition for Water Resources Stewardship. This is a group that is working towards affordable and reasonable solutions to the MS4 permit and RDA issues. Vonnie has also joined the Stormwater Committee of the Water Environment Federation, which is a national group that influences water and stormwater. So she'll be on two boards that will hopefully directing some policy on these very important issues. So I just wanted to report that to the board, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Bill, questions,
No
comments?
questions.
Will?
No, what's that?
Please offer our congratulations to Vonnie for taking those two, I think, influential and prestigious positions. And there's no question that she's deserving of it, and she'll do a great job. So please offer the board's congratulations for that work. Old business, the only thing I have, it's a memo that I sent to Zach. I just give it to you to, so both of you are in the loop, so to speak. And basically, I've just asked him to cost out what he thinks the projected personnel, including supervisory, would be envisioned in this new technology department, and match that up with what the potential or probable outsource costs would be, so that we can get a closer look as to what exactly we're stepping into. So he sent a memo back, essentially asking whether or not I was asking for an analysis involving the school district, which I've since told him that I was not. So we should be getting something probably for the next meeting, which will be informational for the board.
Yeah,
Bill,
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Just related to this, I just want to make sure that we don't lose any speed or effort replacing the position that we've got open that's existing and currently funded. I want to make sure that, that's in the existing budget. I want to make sure that the group that we've chartered and set off to fill that role is making sure that they don't lose any traction with respect to their effort.
Okay. Will?
Any old business, or are we still talking about?
Well, either or, sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I just didn't know if this a discussion. I have nothing to add. I just wanted. I had one member. I'm sorry. I'm exhausted. I had one issue of old business.
Sure.
You and Rick had supplied me, or you had asked Rick, and he did. He supplied me with a whole bunch of information going back on the whole Beach Street, Central Street vibration issue that you guys were obviously very involved with, going back to, as far as I could tell from all the information, '07. From all the information, the only thing, and Linda Toscas did reach out to me again, just to ask, about all the information. I told her that I had received, and I finally got through it all. The only thing I don't know is, some of the neighbors that came to my office hours said that, they just didn't know what the conclusion was, and quite honestly, I don't know what the conclusion was, or if it was concluded. I mean, Mike Santoro's no longer here. Is it something I could ask Vonnie about, or have her here? I know there was a couple of issues, or more than a couple issues throughout the years. We've kind of talked about the trucking and whether you can reroute it, whether you can't. But my main issue, and I guess it's just because it bothers me personally, is that there's still a few neighbors saying that their houses are literally vibrating and things are coming off shelves and stuff like that. And I just want to make sure that there is a firm conclusion to that if possible, whether maybe Vonnie, who probably wasn't involved with this, I mean, maybe she was, but none of the correspondence that I received that kind of describes it historically. But maybe, again, she can kind of get involved and we can find out. I know at one point there was some correspondence to and from some of the neighbors from the former town administrator, and they were talking about vibration tests that were cost prohibitive at $3,000 or $4,000. First of all, I don't think that. Well, you know what? I won't even opine about that right now. It's just I don't think that was necessarily a good answer. I think we need to find out if this is actually happening and to what capacity and at a professional level if possible. And I think we should at least start with our own in-house resource. So I would like Vonnie to get involved with that so that we can at least have an answer for the neighbors, because it was Linda and a few others in the correspondence that just think it's still being looked at or not, and I don't know. So I would like that answer, and I think the neighbors deserve that as well, regardless of the outcome.
So what exactly are you proposing?
Well, what I'd like,
You want
I think
Vonnie
Vonnie, I think I would feel comfortable with Vonnie coming to a meeting at some point in the near future. Or that way we can ask her here, or I don't mind, going through Rick to her either. But asking her to look into what we need to do about vibration tests. That's the big concern, is that people's houses seem to be shaking on their foundations. And I just want to, and they're very close to the road, obviously, in that older neighborhood. But, these are a lot of Milford folks living on that road, and I think we at least need to find out if there's an industry standard for, do roads vibrate, and what causes it? Is it the culverts underneath? And then Scotty might have to look at them. At some point, I know, going back to '07, the culverts were checked. Has something changed, or are those still good? Because now, I mean, it's 2015, so this has been going on for 8 years. So I'd like to at least find out if there is an industry standard. There was a gentleman that Mike Santora recommended to do the vibration test, but he was never hired. And there may have been reason for that, and that's okay. But I'm just looking to see.
Okay, so
We have to look at
all right,
this.
so why don't we do this? Why don't you put down in writing,
Okay.
okay, and you can send it to Rick.
Okay.
Just exactly what you're looking Vonnie to do.
Okay.
Okay, because we're talking about vibration tests or not vibration tests, so it's unclear to me whether or not you want us to go forward to try to fund those. But why don't you put down in writing?
Well, I need to know if they exist, because according to the history,
Yeah.
there's an argument of whether there's even standards of whether
Yeah.
that can be done. So I don't know.
It-
But I'm thinking she
it-
probably could.
It wasn't deemed to be feasible, but why don't you submit something to writing in Rick so that then he can communicate that to Vonnie, and then she can come back with a response.
Okay.
I think that's the clearest thing, so then you can really target and isolate the issues you're talking about,
All right, great.
okay? Anything else under old business?
Moving on to new business, we have a recommendation for the special town meeting. Let's see, the warrant would be opening today and will close on September 24th, 2015. And the town meeting would be planned for Monday, October 26th, 2015. Is there any comment or question? If not, we need a motion to set the date.
Oh, I'd move to set the date for special town meeting for, let's see, let me see if I have this. We set the date for October 28th. I'm sorry, October 26th to convene Milford special town meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Do you need another one for the warrant? Open the warrant or close the warrant?
I suppose if you want to, but I think by setting the date, it's in reference to this document. But if you want to
All right.
make a motion, we can.
Yeah, I'd move to open the warrant today and close it on noon, Thursday, September 24th, 2015.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That too is unanimous. We have an application from the Cafe Sorrento for Sunday, September 20th, 2015, between the hours of 1 and 6, in the parking lot to have a clam bake for right to serve all alcoholic beverage in the Bow Street parking lot. This
Move, Mr. Chairman?
Motion made, seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We have an application from the Italian-American War Veterans, Post 42, for an all-alcoholic beverage for a charity fundraiser to occur at the parking lot at the Post on September 12th, 2015, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is the, I want to say, the 7th annual, I thought I saw that somewhere. Yeah, the 7th annual Mickey Ward Charities Bike Run and Bar. And I think we have a memo from the police chief. There've never been any issues or complaints in all the years that this event has occurred. Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That is unanimous. We have a gift from the Milford firefighters, miscellaneous gift, purpose various, $50 in memory of Peggy Salmon.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Not all in favor. Any opposed? That's unanimous. We have a second gift from Patrick Salmon on behalf of the Massachusetts District 3 Hazardous Materials Team, making a donation of $100 to the Milford Fire Department gift account, again in memory of Peggy J. Salmon, who passed away on August 1st, 2015.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. The Milford Performing Arts Center is requesting a wine and beer permit for Friday, September 18th, 2015, at the times of 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. At the theater and the lobby. They will be having a psychic there.
Move.
That's
Second.
cool. All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. We have correspondence from Christopher Pillar, the treasurer, in accordance with GL Chapter 41, Section 39A, seeking approval of the board to appoint Janet Ferreira to the position of Assistant Town Treasurer, effective August 18th, 2015.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Is there any other new business? Bill?
No new business tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Will, do you have any new business? Okay. Under correspondence, we have correspondence from the town clerk, Amy Hennessy, Neves, changing locations where the precincts vote. Bill, I know you worked on this with her, so why don't I turn it over to you for that?
Yeah, as the board knows, the town clerk corresponded with the Board of Selectmen, laying out a couple different options that she was recommending. I did meet with her and go over those options and reviewed maps. And basically what it came down to is her recommendation and my agreement that in reviewing that map, and it would be helpful if she was here, we can always do that with plenty of time. So if the board would like to look at those maps again, they certainly can, or if they have those copies they were provided, that would work as well. But in any event, reviewed the precinct maps and talked about changing precinct 4 from the senior center to the Portuguese Club, and precinct 6 would go the closest proximity to the senior center. It seemed like a reasonable plan, and I think what it allowed us to do is reflect on some of the things that were brought up at this meeting in our original changes. When we have people walking out from their street, getting into cars, and going to a voting location that's frankly further away than their cars, they could walk to, in some cases, walk to the voting location easier than they would in a shorter distance than it would be to the parking location. So I thought it was a reasonable recommendation and the town clerk's preference. I agreed with that, and we're presenting to this board to see if this board would like to either approve this change as recommended or suggest any others. If there's something else, I know I reached out to the board members to see if they had concerns with either of the proposals that that Amy had presented. I didn't hear anything, but maybe there's something that you've thought of since.
Will?
No, Bill, thank you. Thank you for doing that, too. No, I also spoke with Amy, and, no, I'm very comfortable with the recommendation.
I guess the question that I have is number one, I'm not real sure why we're doing this. How many voters are displeased with the current voting situation? How many voters have been precluded from voting because of that? You know, I don't know, I haven't heard any numbers. I know you raised this initially, Will, so what are we talking about? How many people, you know, couldn't vote?
To me, that's insignificant. What's significant is it's a practical issue. I mean, there are people on that whole area from the hospital going up that are actually driving by the Portuguese Club. There's people that live in Upper Water Street, or actually some elderly folks that actually live in Prospect Heights, and they actually have to leave the neighborhood to go vote at the senior center. To me, that just didn't make much sense from a practical standpoint, when if we're voting from the Portuguese Club, that immediate radius around, where are those people coming from? I mean, I grew up in the old Precinct 7, and down at the end of Purchase Street on the Hopkinton border, guess what? If you live down there, we have no voting location, so you're driving anyway. But down in the neighborhood of these locations, I think it just makes sense that the neighborhood that they're in, living there, just, it's purely from a practical standpoint.
Okay, so we don't know how many voters we're displacing or satisfying. And then the voters of Precinct 6, have we reached out to them to see how they feel about moving from their location? No? And then the other thing is, if you look at the statute, you know, we do have to provide written notice, and the way I read the statute, written notice by mail to each registered voter. So if you're talking about roughly 4,000 voters in each precinct, you're talking about, you know, at least 8,000 letters. You know, that's probably gonna be about $3,000-4,000. You know, where are we gonna get that? Is that in the town clerk's budget or no?
Yeah, I didn't ask that specific question, but I do understand that, to your point, that we do have to reach out to the voters. I think that's a great idea anyway, when we're considering changing. She had to do that when she re-precinct the town. I think if we were to go back, though, you know, I don't know, if we find out there were 10 disenfranchised voters, that's sufficient for me. I don't know that when we reflect back on the original plan to move Precinct 4, it had that type of data associated with it from the start. So we didn't have that data when we made the decision. We have town clerk recommendation now, and I can say as liaison appointed from this board, I reviewed the maps, I looked at what the town clerk was proposing, and it makes sense. It makes sense from a variety of reasons, but more specifically, if there's 10, 20 voters being disenfranchised, and I think there's a whole lot more, but that's anecdotal. I'm comfortable with the proposal that's been made, and I think it satisfies what this board chartered me to do in terms of liaison, to go look at that and see, you know, how many people were traveling from that distance down to the senior center versus being able to vote at the location across the street. Maybe there was a, from your perspective, Mr. Chairman, maybe there was more that you would like to see that would have been helpful from the beginning. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when I look back, when this was approved back in 2011, basically it was a proposal coming forth from the town clerk, and she had reviewed the matter with, I believe, the registrars, also the town engineer. There was also discussion with the police chief, fire chief, superintendent of schools, and then this was her proposal from that, you know, committee outgrowth. So, I mean, you know, basically what we did was submit that proposal, and, you know, I didn't know that there was a problem. I think the problem that, you know, I have with this thing at this point is, number one, I don't have any real objective data that this is gonna make things better. I don't have any sense as to what the cost is gonna be, or where we're gonna get the money for it. And I don't know what kind of precedent this is gonna set for next year when someone from Precinct 8 doesn't like where they're voting. I think it's gonna be confusing to the voters, because people are gonna get something in the mail, maybe September, October, December, and quite honestly, I don't know that they're gonna remember in April and November of next year that their precinct changed, and you're gonna have some confusion, so.
That's one of the concerns.
That's
I
kind
think,
of what I see where I'm at with this thing, but that's okay. I mean, this is something that you worked on, so what's the pleasure of the board?
well, if you're interested in seeing the cost associated with the mailings, I'd be happy to get that information from Amy. If you're interested in seeing the number of voters being moved, we can provide that. I'm trying to make note of the types of things you'd like to see prior to the vote, because there's nothing time-sensitive that we vote this evening on this.
Okay, okay. Well, I'd like to see a budget, number one, see what the costs are, number one. See, where the funding is projected to come from. If a town meeting article is needed, then a town meeting article is needed. Number two, I'd like to get some sense as to how many voters are, prohibited from being able to vote at the senior center. I guess that's the argument, because they live in precinct 4. And, I mean, if we're changing precinct 6, there ought to be some outreach to those voters to see how they feel about moving. I mean, I think everybody is understands that this is a 10-year cycle, piggybacked on the census, and I think everybody kind of, expects that, so now to change something in midstream, I think is not in accordance with people's everyday conscience about it, and I think it behooves us to do, a little bit more looking into than, just the fact that, you think it makes sense. That's my perspective.
Well, why don't we go ahead and
guys
take those
do what
steps
you
and meet at the next meeting? I don't think there's anything that precludes Amy from reaching out. I think the budget is the budget. She could quickly put that together. And I don't think there's anything that prohibits Amy from working with the registrar. She does that every day, right? And to the point about changes and in everybody's consciousness, I'll tell you that even on a 10-year cycle, changing anything is disruptive. So the last change was disruptive. Some people don't understand to this day why it happened and why it was laid out the way it was. So I understand that, and I think there's reason to make adjustment off every outside the 10-year cycle. So, but we can certainly get more information.
That's
and,
precisely why I think that, we should have more information to make the decision of a change like this. At least that's my perspective.
Sure. So we've got that noted, and we'll get that to Amy to pull together that, and I'll look at those results.
Okay, and we can put that on for next meeting or whatever meeting you're ready to do it.
Yeah. We'll see how long it takes Amy to get.
Just let me know. Sure.
Next item we have is a very favorable double poll report from National Grid. I don't know that I've ever seen it down to 59 double polls, so I guess we could say we're getting there.
I think there was a net poll increase, though, Mr. Chairman. It said 59 polls in Milford since the last report, 8 were removed and 9 were installed.
Well, presently, there's 59.
Yeah.
Since the last report, they removed 8 and they installed 9, so they're at 59. I mean, I guess it's, well, I mean, it's as good a number as I can remember.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I had requested, Rick, that we get the aging report, because it's difficult to understand some of this information.
Sure.
Other than the net total number, which
Okay.
we were looking for the age of the double pole, when they were installed, so that we know how long have lasted, how they're being prioritized.
Okay.
Last time I thought you committed to me that with this new system, they were gonna be able to put the age.
They should be able to do that, yeah, they're not quite there yet, but yes.
All right, so maybe we can just find out, so that I don't ask
Follow
you.
up. Yep,
Maybe we can just find out when they will have it, and if it's December, I won't ask till December.
okay, thank you.
That
Yep,
works,
yep.
thank you.
I do like the fact that it's reorganized and much easier to figure out who, the way they refer to as next-to-go member. So now we know the number of polls that Comcast is responsible for, the fire department, National Grid, and so forth. So, hey, it's It's a lot different than what we had a year or so ago.
Agreed.
So, two resignations, Catherine Guido and Nicholas J. Guido are resigning from the Milford Renewable Energy Advisory Committee. The last item that we have is the application for the common victular license for Quality Inn. No one having come forward on that, I would simply take it off the list, and if the applicant wants to go forward, they can bring it forth at another meeting. Any other items you might have, Bill?
No other new items, Mr. Chairman.
Will?
I'm all set.
We do not have an executive session this evening.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion made to adjourn, seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We will adjourn. Thank you, and have a good night, everyone.